I'm a king, and my 4 sons are doing everything in their power to not be my heir. My eldest son joined a monastery. My second son is off studying with some mystic oracle. My third son just announced he's gay, and my fourth is about to have himself castrated. I am frustrated. I want to start lopping off heads. The queen thought about it for a long time. Perhaps I could give you another son, she offered. I just stared at her. My 4 disasters of a son, however, all chimed in. Great idea. I'm a king, and these days it's a terrible job. The treasury is empty, and I'm supposed to foot the bill. The peasants are revolting, and I have to send the troops. A cabinet member gets a cold, and I'm expected to send a get-well card. The paperwork piles up higher than my castle walls, and the ladies of the court have turned finding new ways to give me a headache into an art form. Today, old King Donovan from the neighboring kingdom of Sterling was visiting for a diplomatic meeting. After a few glasses of whiskey, he started crying on my shoulder. He told me all about his own worthless kids, how they were at each other's throats, clawing their way to the throne. A real bloodbath, he said. No humanity, no decency. His most conniving second son had already offed the first and third and nearly staged a coup. As he was leaving, Donovan clapped me on the back. You need to name an heir, Ethan, and soon. Get it settled, so you can cut off any other ambitious nonsense before it starts. I nodded. He was absolutely right. Naming an heir was a matter of national security. That very night, I summoned my council. General Armstrong, my top military man, was yawning. Your Majesty, what's so urgent? Dragging us out of bed at this hour? Could it be? We're finally moving on Sterling. Secretary Sullivan's eyes lit up. That King Donovan is a weak-willed fool. His sons are killing each other, and their kingdom is ripe for the picking. I already have Royal Guard agents embedded in his court. While he's still in our territory, just give the word, Your Majesty. I wasn't having it. The man comes to my castle, drinks my whiskey, and I'm supposed to have him assassinated on his way home. That's just bad form. It'd make me look terrible. I waved a dismissive hand. The Royal Oracle has already foreseen Sterling's collapse. Let nature take its course. Also, Sullivan, you want to wipe that smudge of lipstick off your neck. The secretary instinctively touched his neck, his face flushing crimson. Duke Prescott, who had been observing quietly from the side, finally spoke up. As my father-in-law, he was usually the sharpest one in the room. Your Majesty, does this have to do with King Donovan's visit today? Are you preparing to name an heir? Leave it to him to cut right to the chase. I finally nodded. That's right. I'm ready to choose the crown prince. I'd like to hear your thoughts. The room went silent. Your Majesty, General Armstrong was the first to speak. You know my sister's boy, your 4th son, Cole. Kid's a meathead, not the sharpest tool in the shed. But the first prince, Leo, he's the queen's son, the eldest. It's got to be him, of course. Duke Prescott immediately objected. Your Majesty, think carefully. Our kingdom has always chosen the worthiest heir, not just the oldest. My own nephew, Prince Leo, is not up to the task. Prince Adrian, the 3rd son, is brilliant and accomplished, a student of Secretary Sullivan himself. The title of Crown Prince should be his. Sullivan's eye twitched. Absolutely not. Your Majesty, my student, he's a menace. Making him the heir would be a disaster. In my opinion, the second prince, Julian. Before he could finish, a red-faced Lord Vance shouted, You all know what Julian is like. Make him the heir, and Arcadia will be the next Sterling. Choose Prince Cole. He's trained with the Sword Saint. He'll make the kingdom strong, someone else yelled. Straw my ass. The kid's IQ is lower than his shoe size. General Armstrong, watch your language. Watch my foot up here. I've had it with you two-faced paper pushers. And I've had quite enough of you, you glorified brute. Oh yeah? You want to go? Small. I'll take all of you on with one hand. Just before the situation devolved into a full-blown brawl, I massaged my temples and cut in. Gentlemen, you've all made excellent points. Given the circumstances, I believe I will observe my sons for a time before making my decision. I have 4 sons. The first, Leo, is my queen's child. The second, Julian, is the son of Lady Annabelle. The third, Adrian, was born to a foreign princess who passed away years ago. The fourth, Cole, is Lady Veronica's boy. I don't keep a large court of ladies, only a dozen or so I can remember by name, but it's a strangely harmonious one. None of that backstabbing, poisoning, or false accusations you hear about. The court in Sterling has a new scandal every other day. Here, never happened. My ladies don't fight for my affection. Instead, they're constantly coming up with new ways to ask me for expensive gifts. And they have very specific tastes. No cheap jewels or trinkets. It's exhausting. They've completely drained my personal accounts. Honestly, just looking at them gives me a headache. As for my sons, they all grew up together in the palace. The queen raised them as her own, with the other ladies pitching in. As a result, they're thick as thieves, closer than most full-blooded brothers. But because of that peaceful, comfortable environment, their personalities are a challenge. Still, an heir must be chosen. We were all having dinner in the queen's private solarium. After a few bites, I clear my throat. At the Royal Academy, who has the highest marks in literature? My eldest, Leo, raised his hand. I was about to feel a flicker of pride. Then he said, Patrick Sullivan. I blinked. And in diplomacy and etiquette, my third son, Adrian, answered coolly, Patrick Sullivan. I gritted my teeth. Tactics and cavalry. My second son, Julian, chimed in, Patrick Sullivan. I clenched my jaw. What about economics and rhetoric? Don't tell me it's Patrick Sullivan again. My youngest, Cole, just grinned. Dad, if you already knew, why'd you ask? I didn't want to know. I pressed on, my voice tight. Don't you have any accomplishments to your names? Sure I do, Cole said excitedly. I'm the best fighter out of all of them. I could take on 100 Patrick Sullivans and not break a sweat. Please, Adrian scoffed. That's the only thing you've got going for you. History, art, chess, political theory. You're dead last in every single one. You're the only person in history to make old Professor Albright so mad he actually retired and moved to the countryside. Cole's ears turned red. Well, that's... Leo burst out laughing. You want to talk, Adrian? You hit on all three of Chancellor Miller's daughters. He was so furious he went straight to Mom. Adrian just gave him a knowing smile. And I wonder who it was just 2 days ago who snuck into Dean Thompson's office while he was napping and shaved off that ridiculous mustache he's been growing for 15 years. The one he loves more than life itself. That was Julian. Don't pin it on me. Now, Leo, that's not fair, Julian said smoothly. You're the one who handed me the scissors. These little monsters. I took a deep breath. And another. Is something wrong, my dear? The queen had been watching me for a while, and her voice cut through the bickering. I glanced at my 4 sons and decided to just get it over with. Does any of you have any interest in becoming the crown prince? The moment the words left my mouth, the entire room fell silent. I thought maybe they hadn't heard me and was about to repeat the question. But in that split second of silence, all 4 of them vanished. Just gone. I sat there, stunned. The queen sighed. These boys, they've never known any real hardship. They aren't ready to bear the weight of a crown. I gently patted her hand. They were born into this family. It's a burden they are meant to bear. It's not a choice. It's their destiny. She was quiet for a moment. Who will you choose? I sighed heavily. Now, he's the eldest. He should set an example for his brothers. The next morning, as the sun rose over the capital, the court assembled. I slowly took my seat on the throne. My chief of staff unfurled the scroll and began to read the decree. By royal decree of His Majesty, King Ethan Blackwood, Prince Leo, firstborn of the Queen, being of outstanding moral character and sound mind, has been chosen by this court and kingdom to ascend to the great responsibility of heir apparent. He shall henceforth be known as the Crown Prince. Let the proper ceremonies be prepared. The succession was decided. General Armstrong was the first to boom. His Majesty is wise. The other nobles echoed his sentiment. Only Duke Prescott, my father-in-law, stood there with a face like stone. I felt a wave of relief wash over me. Finally, effective immediately, the Crown Prince will begin his tutelage under Professor. Your Majesty, it's a disaster. A blood-curdling scream echoed from outside the throne room. I frowned. The royal herald, the one I'd sent to officially inform the prince, came scrambling and tumbling into the hall, his eyes wide enough to pop out of his head. The prince. What about the prince? The herald was waving his hands frantically, completely incoherent. Gone. The prince. The ceremony. He ran. I rolled my eyes. He ran away? Then go find him and drag him back. No. The herald's face was beet red as he finally gasped it out in one rush. To avoid becoming the crown prince, His Highness fled in the middle of the night to the monastery of St. Jude and has taken a vow of silence. What? The entire court was speechless. By the time I got to the monastery, the ceremony was already complete. There was Leo, sitting cross-legged on the floor, head shaved, already chanting. Through this divine clarity, the heart is freed from hindrance. Without hindrance, there is no fear. Far from all inverted views, one realizes ultimate nirvana. My face was a thundercloud. Now, my firstborn opened his eyes, looked at me, and pressed his palms together. Amitba, you must have me confused with someone else, benefactor. My name is Brother Clarity. I could feel a vein throbbing in my temple. I turned my glare on the abbot of the monastery. Abbot, could you do me a small favor and kick this kid out of your order? The abbot bowed serenely. Your Majesty, the first prince has a deep connection to the path of enlightenment. His understanding is profound. All things are a matter of fate. I urge your Majesty to accept the will of the heavens. That just made me angrier. Sullivan whispered at my side. Your Majesty, the monastery of St. Jude is the most revered in all of Arcadia. It has thousands of followers across the land. Perhaps we should reconsider. Of course, I knew how important the monastery was. That was the problem. I stared at my son for a long, long time. Let's go. So, the title of Crown Prince fell to my second son, Julian. To prevent a repeat performance, I stationed Royal Guard units on every road leading to every monastery in the entire kingdom. But on the day of his official appointment, it happened again. The herald was much calmer this time. Your Majesty, Prince Julian has successfully passed the 7 trials of the Oracle's Spire, a feat no one has accomplished in a century. The Royal Oracle has officially taken him on as his sole apprentice. Lord Vance looked incredulous. Prince Julian? He passed the 7 trials? The ones they say are impossible. Forget him. Even I didn't know my second son had it in him. Allow me to explain, Your Majesty. A quiet, ethereal voice seemed to fill the throne room. The Royal Oracle, looking ancient and otherworldly, glided into the hall. Prince Julian shares a deep spiritual bond with my ancient order. I have accepted him as my only disciple to pass on our sacred arts, which will protect Arcadia for 100 years. This is the will of the heavens. I ask for your Majesty's blessing. What could I say? Granted. Strike 2. Now, the heir was my third son, Adrian. To prevent any more unforeseen circumstances, I had him tied up and locked in the state chambers. He wasn't going anywhere. Surprisingly, Adrian was perfectly cooperative. He even had his servants bring him a chaise lounge so he could lie down comfortably. You, the young attendant over there, come give my shoulders a rub. And you on the side, my legs? That's better. That was Adrian for you. Never one to suffer in silence. I turned to the captain of the guard. A faint smile touched my lips. Commander Thorne, if Prince Adrian takes one step out of this room tonight, you and your entire squad can go have a long chat with the warden in the royal dungeon. Yes, your Majesty. On the day of the ceremony, Adrian didn't move an inch. I nodded, satisfied, and had them untie him. For the 3rd time, my chief of staff read out the royal decree. By royal decree, Prince Adrian, for his humility and noble character, is the clear choice for heir. He is hereby named Crown Prince to reside in the East Wing. So ordered. The ceremony went off without a hitch. After the nobles had all bowed, I looked over at Adrian. He was still lounging, looking completely relaxed. He flexed his wrists and took the official scroll. So, this means I'm a crown prince now. The chief of staff replied respectfully, Yes, your highness. Good. Very good. Adrian clapped slowly, then reached out and caressed the chief of staff's face. You're quite handsome. Forget your duties. Come to the East Wing and be my plaything. I froze. The smile on my chief of staff's face froze with it. The entire throne room was dead silent. Adrian strolled leisurely down the steps. He stopped in front of Secretary Sullivan, his smile radiant. Mr. Sullivan, my dear tutor, I've long admired your son, Patrick. Such grace, such heavenly beauty. When I become king, how would you feel about him becoming my queen? Sullivan's pupils contracted. Absolutely not. Adrian's eyes narrowed, his smile growing even wider. Oh, But I've had my eye on Patrick for a very long time. And now, I finally have my chance. I must thank all of you who supported my claim to the throne." As he spoke, his gaze swept over the assembled nobles. "And I find Lord Chamberlain quite distinguished as well. He could be a duke in my court. Ah, and I almost forgot our poet laureate. So very handsome, truly my type. He could be a viscount. The Secretary of War's younger brother is a bit fiery, but I like that. He'll make a fine baron. General Armstrong has a nice build. He could be a knight of my personal guard, and the royal librarian, the dean of the academy." The nobles whose names were called turned pale, swaying on their feet. Secretary Sullivan looked up at me, his face a mask of horror. "Your Majesty," the rest of the court erupted. "Your Majesty, he's my only son. Your Majesty, I'm not inclined that way. Your Majesty, I'm already engaged. I'd rather die. Your Majesty, Enough." I took a deep, shuddering breath, my hands clenched into fists. The crowd fell silent. I rose from my throne and looked down at my third son. "Do you really want to take it this far?" Adrian's smile vanished, and he nodded seriously. "If you truly make me crown prince, father, then you can expect the Blackwood line to end with me. I'm not suited to be a prince, much less a king. But if you insist, then I have no choice but to accept." He paused. "And by the way, you're not bad looking yourself, father. Better than the poet laureate, even. That did it. That little monster." My face was turning purple. I couldn't hold it back any longer. "Get out of my sight. Cole." That just left Cole. I looked at my youngest son and asked, trying to sound casual, "Cole, you're almost 15. Is there any young lady you have your eye on?" Cole blushed, looking a bit shy as he nodded. "Good. He likes girls." I breathed a sigh of relief and clapped him on the shoulder, a wide smile on my face. "Guards, seize the fourth prince, and use the strongest ropes we have." Cole just stared, bewildered. "Dad, what?" I spoke to him like a father counseling his son. "Cole, your brothers are all disasters. You're the only one I have left." Tears welled up in Cole's eyes as he looked at me pleadingly. "Dad, I don't want to be the crown prince. Uncle Armstrong says I'm not smart enough." I pretended not to hear him. "The palace is full of old foxes. A few years of training with them will sharpen your mind and build your character. It'll be fine." Cole looked like he wanted to argue, but couldn't find the words, the picture of misery. I ignored it and called for Commander Thorne. "Commander, you have the Royal Guard and the Shadow Corps at your disposal. Tonight, I want you on high alert. Do not let the fourth prince take a single step out of this palace." Thorne puffed out his chest, completely confident. "Your Majesty, with both the Royal Guard and the Shadow Corps at my command, forget the prince. I could march on Stirling and take the kingdom by dawn." Not 10 minutes later, a report came. Commander Thorne was unconscious, and Cole was gone. I rubbed my temples. "Your Majesty, we've sealed every exit. The prince must still be in the palace." Reporting, "Your Majesty, no sign of the prince at the North Gate. West Gate is clear. He's not in the Empress's garden." "Your Majesty, we found him. The prince is in the royal infirmary." I sighed. The messenger quickly added, "Don't worry, Your Majesty. The guards got to him in time. He's perfectly fine." I actually laughed. A bitter, empty laugh. Every other royal family has sons killing each other for the crown. In mine, it's the exact opposite. These four disasters. To avoid the throne, they'd do anything. One became a monk. One became a mystic. One came out as gay. And one nearly castrated himself. I was angry. I was frustrated. I wanted to start swinging an axe. Before I could even catch my breath, another panic shout. "Your Majesty, it's terrible." My chief of staff, Miles, burst into the room, pointing a trembling finger behind him, his face a mask of terror. I was perfectly calm. "Spit it out." I couldn't imagine what could possibly be worse than my four sons. Miles took a deep breath and blurted, "Lady Annabelle, Lady Veronica, Lady Catherine, Lady Isabel, Lady Beatrice, Lady Seraphina, Lady Gwendolyn, Lady Penelope, Lady. All of them. They're all here." "What?" My eye twitched, and I spun around. "Quick, hide the pearl collection." Crash. At that exact moment, the door to my chambers was kicked open. Ethan Blackwood, Lady Veronica, stormed in like a hurricane. "You look me in the eye, and you tell me my family hasn't bled for you. We've gone through hell and back for your crown. My father and 6 brothers died in your wars. All I have left is my brother, the general. How have we ever failed you, that you would do this to my Cole? If a guard hadn't seen him sneaking into the infirmary, my boy would have. Lady Seraphina calmly added, would have become the first eunuch prince in the history of Arcadia. From the back of the crowd, Lady Beatrice couldn't stifle a giggle. Lady Annabel sighed. Veronica, dear, try to calm down. My Julian is the first mystic prince. Another lady chimed in, and the Queen's Leo is the first monk prince. In other kingdoms, brothers murder each other for the throne. Here, in Arcadia, our princes will do anything to avoid it. I wouldn't want a job either. It sounds exhausting. Oh, Your Majesty, are those the new sea pearls behind you? They're lovely. Could I have a closer look? Now, Your Majesty, don't play favorites. I want to see to... My head was starting to pound. I shot a desperate look at Miles. He immediately understood. My ladies, His Majesty is... He only got out 2 words before Lady Veronica shot him a glare that could curdle milk. Ethan Blackwood, you will give me an explanation, right now. Veronica marched up and grabbed my sleeve, her grip like iron. My Lady Veronica is General Armstrong's sister. She grew up with me and the Queen, and she's always been a wild child. Every time she got into trouble, the Queen was there to cover for her. She even married me for the Queen's sake. I still remember our wedding day. The little Spitfire stood there, chin up, and told me, Ethan Blackwood, you might be handsome, but my Eleanor is the best person in the world. If she weren't here in this palace, I would have run away. I would never have married you. I owe her family a debt I can never repay. I can tolerate her disrespect, but naming an heir is a matter of state. I sighed, exasperated. Where is Cole? Bring him here. Veronica froze. What do you mean? Don't tell me you still want to make him the crown prince. Ethan, are you even human? How dare she? That girl has no sense of self-preservation. That's enough. I ripped my sleeve from her grasp. You. Her eyes turned red, and she suddenly yelled toward the doorway. Eleanor, Ethan's bullying me again. All the righteous anger I'd just mustered vanished like a puff of smoke. The Queen had arrived. For things to have come to this, it is my failure as a mother. The Queen looked down, sighing softly. I never knew the boys would go to such lengths to avoid the throne. I softened my voice, trying to comfort her. Don't blame yourself, my love. Those 4 little devils are talented enough. They just have no ambition. Veronica muttered under her breath. You finally noticed? My tone hardened again. Regardless, an heir must be named. The Queen thought for a moment. Perhaps. I could give you another son. Before I could even react, a chorus of voices from the other ladies cried out, Your Majesty, please reconsider. I just stood there. Just then, the quiet Lady Sylvia, who rarely spoke, stepped forward. Her words were a thunderclap. Your Majesty, don't you have another son? Just name him. I blinked. What? How do I not know I have another son? Lady Beatrice whispered, a story. Miles, bring some snacks. My gaze fell on Lady Sylvia. What are you talking about? The other ladies crowded closer, their curiosity piqued. Lady Sylvia said, the lady who was sent to the Forgotten Wing 13 years ago. She gave birth to a son in there. I was walking by a couple of days ago, and I saw the boy climbing a tree for fruit. I asked for one. It was very sour. She said it as if she were discussing the weather. But to me, it was a tidal wave. A disgraced lady gave birth to a son. I have another child, one I've never met, living in that wretched place. I was about to demand the full story when Lady Veronica clapped her hands. I remember her, the one who tried to harm the Queen. You were so angry you had her locked away for good. Another lady added, oh yes, the only one of us to ever see the inside of the Forgotten Wing. Lady Annabel looked intrigued. Sylvia, dear, no one knew about this. How did you find out? Sylvia shrugged. I was just out for a walk and happened to end up there. I overheard the attendants talking, so I listened for a bit. Found out she'd had a son 13 years ago. So I went and had a look at the boy. The Queen spoke up. Sylvia, how can you be sure he is the king's son? Sylvia said simply, you just have to look at him. He has your face for when you were a boy. About 70%, I'd say. Istère de hair. Then why are you only telling me this now? Sylvia thought about it very seriously. I forgot. I just remembered now. I knew Sylvia's personality. If she said she forgot, she really forgot. But for what she was saying, the staff of the Forgotten Wing knew about the prince's existence, and no one reported it. My voice dropped, laced with ice. Who is in charge of the Forgotten Wing? Bring him to me. A matter of this magnitude, and no one reported it. Miles hurried off and dragged the man back. A steward in a green uniform knelt, trembling. I am the keeper of the Grey Tower, Your Majesty. I asked him coldly, was the lady pregnant when she was sent there? The steward paled. Yes. My face was like stone. You have some nerve. This concerns the royal bloodline. Why was this not reported? What was your intention? The steward's face was white as a sheet. Your Majesty, I swear. I reported the pregnancy to Director Chun of the Internal Affairs Office, to Chief Administrator Fu, and to Steward Li of the Palace Guard. Director Chun sent a messenger back, saying Your Majesty did not want the child, and that he was to be left to fend for himself in the tower. When had I ever said such a thing? I roared, bring me those 3 men. Miles looked pained. I'm afraid that's not possible, Your Majesty. I frowned. Why not? Lady Catherine spoke up. I know. Director Chun was a foreign spy. He was discovered and killed by Commander Thorne. The Queen added, Chief Administrator Fu was also a spy for a minor southern nation. He was trying to steal our border defense maps and was killed by a royal assassin. And that Steward Li. Lady Beatrice covered her mouth with a fan. He drank too much cheap wine and fell into the ornamental pond. Drowned himself. It was quite the scandal at the time. Does Your Majesty not remember any of this? I cleared my throat and glared at the trembling steward. He immediately burst into tears. Heaven be my witness. Every word I've spoken is the truth. I would never dare deceive Your Majesty. I know you wouldn't have the guts. Take me to the Grey Tower. Lady Annabelle suddenly asked, Your Majesty, what if this boy doesn't want to be crowned prince either? I had no answer. Lady Beatrice's eyes lit up. My ladies, why don't we make a wager on whether our never-before-seen prince wants the crown? Interesting, Lady Annabelle nodded. I'll wager this jade hairpin. I bet he has no interest. One by one, the other ladies placed their bets, all of them betting that my unknown son would refuse the crown. Even my own queen. Furious, I pulled out my most prized possession, a flawless, deep-sea pearl the size of fist. I bet he wants it. James's perspective, my name is James, and I'm a professional. My specialty is navigating the treacherous waters of political simulation games. Court intrigue, succession wars, deposed princes, forgotten heirs, you name it, I've played it. No matter how impossible the starting scenario, I can claw my way to the top and achieve a perfect victory. The system itself has certified me. I'm a #1 player in the genre. Before this mission started, the system gave me a rare warning. User, the difficulty of this simulation is set to hell mode. Are you sure you wish to proceed? I just waved it off. Stop nagging. The harder it is, the more fun it is. Let's do this. I opened my eyes and was met by a dozen gnarled, leering faces. My king, you've finally come to see me. Ha ha. My king, I killed that witch for you. You've forgiven me. Mine. The king is mine. No one else can have him. What the hell was this? Before I could even summon the system to get status report, this group of madwomen swarmed me, grabbing and tearing at me, their eyes promising to flame me alive and eat me for dinner. This was bad. I grabbed a handful of dirt from the floor and threw it in their faces. In a few seconds of confusion, I scrambled away and hid in a dark corner. I had to ask, System, who are these crazy old women? Consorts of the previous king. Each one is a ruthless, unstable murderer with a body count in the triple digits. I see. User, now transmitting host body's memories. Information flooded my brain. Son of a disgraced consort in the Grey Tower. No name, 13 years old. Mother died of illness last year, buried under the old tree in the southeast corner. I sifted through the data and found the one useful piece of information. This body was 100% genuine royal blood. I thought for a moment. 2 questions. I may be the son of a disgraced woman, but I'm still a prince. Why am I locked in here? Does the current king even know I exist? The system ignored me and issued a directive instead. Main quest initiated. In 5 years, go from forgotten outcast to crown prince of the East Wing. Reward, 300 points. My eyes lit up. 300 points. I played more than 10 full simulations just to earn 100 points. No wonder this was hell mode. Found you, hee hee hee. My celebration was cut short by a chilling giggle from right behind me. Goosebumps erupted on my skin. I didn't even turn around. I just ran. Okay, new priority. How does a scrawny 13-year-old boy survive in a 5,000 square foot, sealed-off ruin with a pack of homicidal maniacs? After 2 days of hiding, I was exhausted and so hungry my legs were shaking. Clang! The food delivery had arrived. A small slot at the bottom of the main gate opened, and several food boxes were tossed inside. I looked around, made sure the coast was clear, and started to move. Got you. My king. A pale, bony hand landed on my shoulder. On pure instinct, I grabbed a loose brick from the ground and swung it at her. I heard a loud crack and watched, horrified, as she shattered the brick with a single punch. The system chimed in. This one is the sister of a former Grand Marshal. She once killed 30 armed bandits with her bare hands. Was this some kind of iron fist technique? Did I accidentally load martial arts simulation? Survival first, questions later. I pointed frantically behind her and yelled, "The Grand Marshal is here." The crazy woman's chilling smile froze. She actually fell for it and looked behind her. In that moment of distraction, I didn't even bother with the food. I just ran for my life. I made it back to my hiding spot and collapsed, my vision blurring. This wasn't working. If these women didn't kill me, starvation would. I had to get out of the Gray Tower. From my observations, there was only one exit, the main gate. When a food delivery person comes, I'll grab his hand through the slot and threaten him until he opens the gate. I was still planning my move when I saw it. The Iron Fist lady was already there, her hand clamped around the delivery person's wrist. "Open the gate," she snarled. "I need to see the king. If you don't, I'll rip this arm off." I paused. Hey, that was my plan. I was about to complain to the system. "Just take the food. You're making too much noise." A gruff, impatient voice boomed from outside the gate. It was followed by a scream. I watched the crazy woman fly 10 feet through the air, slam into the wall, and slide to the ground, motionless. "A little rough there, Frank," another voice said from outside. "Barely touched her. Used maybe 2% of my strength." Okay, so threats weren't going to work. Plan B. Announce my status as a prince and appeal to their greed. Decision made. I started to walk forward, but someone beat me to it. Another one of the women was at the gate, wailing. "I gave the last king a child. He's the current king's own brother. You have to open this gate I have to get." Thwack! Another consort went flying through the air. She landed right on top of the Iron Fist lady. I pulled my foot back. The gate was a no-go. That only left. Climbing. My eyes widened. In front of me stood a wall nearly 30 feet high. Are all prison walls this tall? Climbing was impossible. I needed tools. Late that night, under the cover of darkness, I took out my makeshift grappling hook and rope. I was just about to throw it when a white shadow gracefully flew past me. It landed silently on top of the wall. Was that a ghost? I rubbed my eyes. Maybe this was a horror simulation. User, that is a lightness technique. The consort who just flew up the wall is a former disciple of the world's foremost acrobatic sect. Wow, I breathed. If I could do that, I'd be out of here in. Before I could finish the thought, an arrow flew through the night sky and struck the white figure on the wall. I watched her fall 30 feet to the ground. She didn't get up. I silently looked at the rope in my hand and dropped it. There was only one option left. Burn the place down. The guards outside would have to come in to put out the fire. I could slip out in the chaos. Fire. I needed a spark. I searched the entire tower. Nothing. There was only one way. I had to make fire myself. I found a dry piece of wood, gathered some tinder, and started spinning a pointed stick between my palms. After what felt like 100 rotations, I finally saw a wisp of smoke. It was working. I added more kindling, blew gently, and a small flame flickered to life. Burn, baby, burn. The bigger the better. My plan was just about to succeed. Crack boom. A flash of lightning split the sky, followed by a torrential downpour. It extinguished my precious flame in an instant, and with it all my hope. I just stood there, stunned, as the rain soaked me to the bone. Then I pointed a finger at the sky and screamed. Are you kidding me? It couldn't have rained yesterday. It had to be right now. Do you have any idea how hard that was? Could my luck possibly get any worse? Just bring it on. For once, the system offered something close to comfort. User, please be mindful of your health. He was right. In this frail body, catching a cold could be a death sentence. I drag my exhausted body over to the main gate to get out of the rain. No wonder it's a hell mode dungeon. I was beaten. Me, the number one player, who had aced countless simulations. My last scenario, I started with nothing but a begging bowl. I went from a beggar to the emperor of a unified continent. And now, I was trapped in a single dilapidated tower. I couldn't accept it. I refused to lose to this. User, your probability of escaping the gray tower alive in your current condition is a negative number. My face darkened. Screw you. How many times have I escaped impossible situations? This time I have genuine royal blood. I will get out of here, I will become the crown prince, and I will complete. You want to be the crown prince? A deep voice, laced with surprise and delight, echoed through the now quiet courtyard. The rain had stopped as suddenly as it began. The puddles on the ground reflected a clear blue sky. The great gates of the gray tower, sealed for decades, were creaking open. My eyes moved, and I turned my head. A figure dressed in royal gold was walking toward me. Was that the king? I must be hallucinating from hunger. The system pinged urgently. User, that is the reigning monarch. He is also your biological father, King Ethan Blackwood of Arcadia. My expression shifted. I forced myself to stand straighter. Do you truly want to be the crown prince? King Ethan asked again, his dark eyes fixed on me. A jolt went through me. This was bad. I'd revealed my ambition too early. What if my dear old dad was the paranoid type, the kind who would do anything to secure his power? He might not care about our shared blood. He might just have me killed. I'd seen plenty of simulations where fathers and sons turned on each other. I was frantically trying to figure out a new strategy when, my boy, King Ethan's tone changed completely. He looked me up and down with an expression of profound pride and relief, and immediately gave an order. Send a royal decree, announce the existence of the fifth prince to the entire kingdom, and notify the royal astrologer to choose an auspicious day to name him the new crown prince. What? On my first day out of the gray tower, I became the fifth prince of Arcadia. On my fifth day out, I became the crown prince. Even after the coronation ceremony was over, I just stared at the official scroll in my hand, feeling completely dazed. That's it. I'm the heir to the throne. It was that easy? It felt absurd. None of this followed the standard gameplay loop. Congratulations, user. Quest complete. 300 points will be credited upon simulation completion. I still couldn't accept it. This is a hell mode simulation. There's no way it's this simple. I must be dreaming. Yeah, this has to be a dream. I slapped myself hard across the face. Twice. Ow, that hurts. Wait, that wasn't me. Who said that? I turned and met a pair of smiling eyes peeking through my open window. In the middle of the night, climbing through my window, an assassin. Gooer. We're here, little brother. A pair of strong arms wrapped around me in a tight hug, cutting off my cry for help. The system issued a new directive. Remaining main quest triggered. Outmaneuver King Ethan's other 4 sons. I silently stared at the 4 figures climbing in through my window. A monk, a mystic, a guy dressed like a flamboyant peacock, and a kid who looked like he'd been hit in the head one too many times. King Ethan's 4 sons, my new older brothers. User, be advised. These 4 princes are extremely dangerous. Oh, now that piqued my interest. My very first simulation was a 9-prince succession war. I'd taken on 8 of them. The 3rd prince, Adrian. User must be extremely cautious. He is a brilliant strategist, a student of the Secretary of State, with a mind like a labyrinth. He is also a known predator who abducts any handsome man he sees, keeping a private harem of beautiful young men. Any who defy him are tortured to death. Because of him, attractive men in the capital dare not go out during the day. My eye twitched. I cursed internally. Is this even a political simulation? Now I have to worry about losing my virtue. User, you should be more concerned about staying alive. The first prince, Leo, a disciple of the abbot of the world's most powerful monastery. He has mastered a deadly martial art that allows him to stop a man's heart with a single touch. He has brought enlightenment to over 1,000 innocent victims. The second prince, Julian, backed by the oracle, he has mastered their dark arts. He is infamous for once wiping out an entire town, claiming it was the will of the heavens. Finally, the fourth prince, Cole. trained by the legendary overseas sword saint. His skill is immeasurable. He is also notoriously petty. A prince from a neighboring kingdom of Sterling once accidentally spilled wine on him. Cole had him dragged to the infirmary and castrated. User, do not, under any circumstances, offend him. My head was spinning. All the antagonists from all my previous simulations combined wouldn't be a match for these four. User, take care of yourself. I'm going on my annual leave now. You guys get annual leave? Just got approved. I hope you survive to the end of the simulation. Goodbye. Little brother. Cole stepped forward, his eyes shining as he looked me up and down. You were just hitting yourself. That's self-harm, right? Me? Self-harm. It must be, Cole said with absolute certainty. You must not want to be crown prince either. That's why you're hurting yourself. Not want to be crown prince. Why wouldn't I want that? Wait a minute. Was this kid trying to intimidate me into giving up the throne? The mystic Julian spoke. Little brother, I hear you grew up in the Grey Tower. Was that fun? And this one was reminding me of my disgraced origins, implying I wasn't worthy of the title. Adrian fanned himself. I hear some of the ladies grandfather locked away in there were quite beautiful. Did you ever meet them, little brother? This was a trap. He wanted me to admit to consorting with the former king's women. Leo just smiled. If things get too stressful in the palace, you can always come stay in my monastery for a few days. Father will never find you there, right? He wanted to lure me away so he could get rid of me quietly. I took a few subtle steps back. My fingers tapped against the arm of the coral-inlaid chair beside me. I knew it. I knew a hell mode simulation couldn't be this easy. So the real game was surviving these four horsemen of the apocalypse. Bring on. I will complete this mission. King Ethan's perspective. I've been in an excellent mood lately. Even when I see those four disasters I call sons, I can't help but smile. Because now I have a fifth son. And most importantly, this kid wants to be the crown prince. My legacy is secure. Arcadia's future is secure. In his first year as crown prince, my old tutor, Professor Albright, was full of praise. I have never seen a student as diligent as His Highness. He is in the study hall before dawn, reviewing the classics. Every challenge I set before him, he meets with a brilliant and unexpected solution. In his second year, the commanders of the elite Shadow Corps spoke of him with awe. Your Majesty, the prince is a natural prodigy. He has been training with us for only a few months, yet he has already devised 10 new strategic formations that have given our forces a significant advantage. We have nothing left to teach him. In his fifth year, the entire court was singing his praises. Secretary Sullivan exclaimed, "The floods in the southern provinces last month were a catastrophe, but the prince proposed a system of diversionary canals and levees. He turned a disaster into a triumph of engineering, channeling the floodwaters safely out to sea." Duke Prescott added, he also invented a method of carving stone markers to track water levels, allowing the Royal Corps of Engineers to establish a comprehensive flood warning system. General Armstrong boomed, "I just got back from the south. The common folk are all building shrines to our crown prince." Lord Vance declared, "His Highness is a gift from the heavens, a blessing upon this kingdom." Yes, that's my boy, the one I chose. I was so proud, so incredibly proud. It looked like I could finally hand over this burden and travel the world with my queen. Epilogue. In the 27th year of his reign, King Ethan Blackwood abdicated the throne to his son, Crown Prince James, and retired. Upon his ascension, James changed the era name to the Age of Harmony. History would know him as James the Wise. This great king reigned for 59 years. He was a tireless reformer, a wise administrator, a friend to the common man, and a keeper of the peace. Historians who scoured every record and rumor from his reign could not find a single flaw, not one scandal to his name. Only on his deathbed did James the Wise utter a series of baffling final words. Cough, cough, cough. I won. I beat those four monsters, 59 years on the throne, and no one could find a single thing to criticize. User, congratulations on completing the simulation. The long silent system came back online. I was ecstatic. See? Hell mode? It was nothing. Cough, cough. The system was quiet for a moment. User, there has been a routing error. You were loaded into the wrong simulation. This was, in fact, a slice-of-life comedy with no difficulty setting. I froze. What did you say? The system quickly explained. The error has been corrected. Your next simulation is guaranteed to be hell mode. I sputtered. What about the 4 murderous psychos? They were, in fact, 4 harmless goofballs. For a moment, it felt like my entire world had been struck by lightning. My brain simply shut down. My limbs went numb. I stared into space, my teeth clenched. Are you telling me my entire 59-year struggle was a joke? That is a valid interpretation of the data, yes. What about my points? As the simulation had no difficulty, no points were awarded. I was overcome with a rage so pure, so intense, it felt like my chest would explode. With my last breath, I roared, "Damn you! Go to hell, you stupid system!"